and I'm going to show you a few things. So in this stream, I want to talk about Symbaroum because this is the game I'm running, and as you know, this game, really good game, is also extremely lore heavy, and this is what a typical page looks like. So really dense stuff. Let's go further off. Got some wonderful art in this game, but so much text, so many words, and so much lore that is spread out all over the place. So there's lore in, of course, the core rule books. There's lore in every installment of the Throne of Thorns campaign, which is a wonderful campaign, but it's very, very large. It's 6 books, and in each book has more lore, has special rules, has artifacts, has new creatures, has new etc., etc. And just for an example, some of the lore will be in the art, like the description of an artifact. So condensing everything together is a nightmare. And I've been trying multiple tools to try to sort it all out, and it's a challenge. But the payoff is that this world feels so real and so alive for my players. It is super immersive. They are really into it, and we are tackling session 104. So I know for many people out there, 104 sessions might seem like a lot. Actually, it is a lot. But I typically run like super long campaigns. I did the same in Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. I think we must have lasted like 300 sessions over 10 years or something. So it's crazy like that. But it's just that as long as we're all invested, as long as the characters are growing, as long as there's new things happening of importance in the story, we just stick to it and we keep playing. So before I show you the tools, the modern tools I'm using to try to sort this out, I'm going to just have a little glass of wine because, you know, it's the afternoon. It's a bit gray outside, as you can see here in Montreal, and I'll be drinking a little red wine because I'm half French after all. So this is the bottle I chose. Actually, it's my girlfriend that chose this one. Côte du Rhône. I like what they say, non filtrée mais élégante. Mademoiselle Dumont. So yeah, we'll see. First time I drank this one. So I don't know in what situation you're listening to this, but if you're at home, if it's at nighttime, maybe have a glass of your own, and we'll just hop into the wonderful world of Symbaroum, but via my prep for next session. So let's drink this. Very fruity, very good, very, very light, not woody at all. So I'll just, I'm really learning the ropes here. I'm a bit stuck with all my stuff, but I know what I want to show you. I want to show you my setup first, and then I'll do some actual session prep. There might be, once I'm prepping, I might sort of forget about you guys and sometimes just be there pondering for minutes on end. So if you find that obnoxious, then you can just wait for the Redux version where I'll cut all the silence out and things will be a bit more easier to follow. But the first part of this stream will be something that I want to be, useful to you guys. And so I'll just start with all those elements that are potentially useful for you. So let's go ahead and share the screen. Okay, and let's go check. I think this would be the one. Let's see. Okay, so let's go. Okay, so this is one of the tools I use And let me just check to make sure that you guys are still there. Okay. Just as I said, I'm sort of learning the ropes here. Now I've disappeared. I still want to be here, so voila, there I am. Okay, and I'll just remove this here. Okay. I'm still at that. Wait. I just want to remove. Okay, nothing is left. All right, good. Okay, so this is the notorious, and maybe you don't like that kind of tool. I am aware that AI is a tool that is very controversial. I do try to use it as less as possible. I mean, I don't use it for creativity because the AI mind is really bad at creating anything interesting. So that's not the use. That's not what it's good at. What it's good at is ingesting tons and tons and tons of text and summarizing or going in there to find some factoids for me. So what I did is that I put inside a notebook in Notebook LM. A Notebook LM is it's the Google service. And you can add all sorts of sources. You could add videos, you could add audio, you could add PDFs. So I put all my PDFs, my Symbaroum PDFs there. I have this is my session reports. So I have all the story up to now of what happened in my campaign as well. That I subcontract to my players. They're the ones that create this material. And once all of this is in here, I can really dig in. Now I've put a preset so it answers in French. I'll just ask it a question. I'll ask it in English. What are no? Give me all the lore on trolls and present the most famous troll NPCs. Answer in English. In English. Now I have this little thing that's in my way. You guys don't see. Okay, answer in English. Let's try this. So it's going to read through all the books and find everything it can find about trolls. And we'll see what it comes up with. I've used it a few times, even during a session. Sometimes, like a lore master character wants to know, what do I know about this or that? And if I just ask this same question to Notebook LM, it will come out with a lot of it of super interesting information. Of course, I have read the books and I can see if it's mixing things up or anything, but basically it takes out all these points and it reminds me of what I know about this subject, and it's super useful. So let's see. Wow. Okay. So I've got, yeah, that's pretty good. Complex and rage. Trolls in the world of Symbaroum are a complex ancient race whose nature is often misunderstood by the Ambrian people, who generally view them as aggressive, mindless monsters. However, barbarian legends and scholarly research suggest a more nuanced reality of organized underground civilizations and a profound biological connection to other races. Everything's true in there. You can see what, like, where in the text this was picked up. Troll life cycle and biology. The most startling aspect of troll lore is their shared origin with goblins and ogres. The larval phase, pupation, evolutionary phases, physical traits. And then you have troll culture and values. While famished trolls on the surface are aggressive predators, those living in the underworld belong to organized kingdoms with distinct social castes, including rulers, warriors, scouts, and craftsmen. See, I forgot about that. Yeah, yeah. You see, there it is. It's probably in the advanced player's guide. The morality of strength. Troll culture is defined. You see, I like this answer so much that I'm going to save it. So I can save it for later here. I can rename this. So we have the trolls. Oranga, recently awakened leech troll. Voax, the troll mother. Arug. Okay, interesting. You see Uhux, a legendary undead arch troll of immense power. Now, I don't remember that about at all. I can check here. I think that comes from the GM guide. Yeah. So it's the legendary adversaries. So there you go. So for all the GMs that are GMing Symbaroum, I'm sure you already see this wonderful use case for this app. Let's ask another question. Let's just say, let's remove some sources. So let's just go in. I'll just put this up here. Well, let's just go in my reports. All the sessions, this. So now it's only going to look at what we wrote in those reports. I'm going to say, what happened to the group in their travels between Priospas and Thistlehold? Answer in English. Let's try this. So that's the first part of my campaign, because I started the campaign with the Promised Land. So some of the characters were coming from Thistlehold to pick up Mikariol, a mage from Alberetar, and he was waiting for them beyond the Titans. And so they came to him, picked him up, and then we played Promised Land all the way to Prios Pass. In Prios Pass, we played Howling of the Damned Gods. So they met another character, a Templar, and they were mixed up in all that story. I had planted some characters of that story in the caravan already, so it was linked. And after that, there was sort of a conclusion, and they left to just rejoin Thistlehold, and they decided to take the river. I think don't remember the name, Veloma Valley, the Veloma River, I guess, all the way to Karnak, which is near Agrella. And then they walked through Priya's domain all the way to the Duchy of Narugor, and Thistlehold. So they did a lot of traveling. So this is what this tool is going to condense for me. So this is the troll story. Let's go to this one. So the journey was perilous trek marked by undead ambushes, political conspiracies, mystical encounters with the ancient inhabitants of the land. Departure from the Titans and after descending, leaving the refugee camp at Prios Pass, embroiled in dark. Okay, so that's Howling of the Damned Gods. So there's the ambush, everything exactly. Now the possession of the troll. So there's a bit of noise behind me, but that's just my daughter picking up stuff. It won't last long. So they met a troll that was possessed. They rescued mortals, and that's all the adventure that happened in Prios Pass. And on the river travel, following a series of conflicts with the Renegade, secure passage on a barge called Demoiselle des Rivières. So that's the River Maiden. During the river travels, they stopped in Karnak, where they witnessed a performance featuring a black fairy. So that's interesting. That's the part that I added, because Mirizin, the barbarian guide, he has like a birth spot on his back, and I was starting to create this story linking him to all the drama with the spiders and with Angatal-Tar and with Xanata and Karathran and all that, because of course, since I read the whole campaign before starting it, I know what's coming. And so this black fairy is a small corrupt fairy, like I think they call them spring elves. And this fairy started talking about Xanata, that the fact that he was the son of Xanata because she saw the mark on his back. And this barbarian character is Enoai. So Enoai is the clan up north that worships Oroke, which is the spider goddess. So everything ties in pretty well with this character. So the son of Xanata, claiming blah blah blah. So that's it. And then okay, so you see they really condensed after a stop at the Temple of Ophelia. So they completely flushed this part. So I could say, what happened at the Temple of Ophelia? Answer in English. So you can see how we can interrogate the material. We can dive in, dig deeper. And for this kind, I believe that actually it's not only this game. This game absolutely needs it because the information is always hard to dig out from the books. The books are really fun to read because it's sort of like reading almost a novel sometimes. But then, you get all these super cool ideas and, oh, wow, and this links to that and blah, 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 blah. But then you start playing and you're thinking about, I sort of remember that there was this thing about this witch. Where is that? You will never find it. It's just really, really hard. So here, significant turning point. So the arrival at the temple was a turning point, marked by judicial proceedings, uncovering of religious conspiracies and tests of skills. So that's it. The judgment of the renegade Templar, the revelations and the new missions, the study of the forbidden book, the cultural physical contents. That's really interesting. I really like that. I'm just gonna put it up to the side to read it later on because it's fun to have this new angle on things that you already know. Because when we play, of course, there's highlights, there's moments of strong emotion and big reveals and stressful combat, and that's mostly what we remember from our games, right? But when you sort of dig back into what happened in your campaign, you sort of you can pull out really interesting details that were seeded throughout and that you sort of forgot about. For a GM to be able to do that is super useful because you can bring back those seeds, and when you do bring them back in play, actually the players will remember most of the time. Sometimes they don't, but then you can just give them a little refresh, really quick refresh, and yeah, so that's super useful tool. So that's the first tool, new tool that I'm using. And the main tool that I use for my campaign notes is it's called Heptabase. So I'll share that one for you. Let me do that. So I need to stop first, and then I'll go find this one. There we go. Okay. I hope it's big enough for you to read, because I don't have, well, in this layout I can't really change. I can't zoom in that easily. I could do this, I guess. So I'll see. I'll check. Maybe I can just put it just a bit more. Okay. So first of all, let's just take a look at this. So for those who know applications like Obsidian, it's similar in a way. So it's a markdown based app. So you can create hyperlinked cards actually. So if I go here, I can show you that's in French, but that was one of the sessions. So the overture, they were in the underworld, and they were talking to Elmendra the Senseless. So this was all notes that I wanted to have on hand to be able to role play her and deliver some information that she would give to the PCs. This is what she wants. I hope you see. Do you see my? Huh. Okay, I'm not sure you see my pointer here. How can I know? Let me check something. No, you don't. Okay. Okay, I'll have to take this into account. So in the middle is what she wants. Elmendra l'insensé veut. It's written below it au palais. So what's going on in the palace? Because once they get out from the underworld, I knew that they want to go to the palace to speak with the Duchess Esmeralda. And then a few ideas for some dangerous encounters. If we want, if I need some action, I can have these kinds of little ambushes to throw on them. And beside my main card, I can hide this here to have more room. I can go like this to see everything. So I'll typically just put stuff that I need, and we can just quickly check, but you get the idea. And what's fun with this particular tool is that it's easy to use. I'm really not a computer geek type of guy, so I can't, like, having another setup with plugins that don't work because you updated this. And I'm thinking of Foundry right now. I love Foundry, but the programmer aspect of it, the computer savvy aspect of it is really makes me bounce off, because I mean, I do like using it. I got used to it, but I prefer Owlbear Rodeo, for example, which is so easy and simple. I really need, like, UIs for the stupid guy. That's what I need. And I hate it when there's too many bobs and whistles that the players can get lost in while we play. Like, I really hate that. It sort of becomes like a video game, and I really prefer that players just throw dice at home. Even they can even have their paper character sheet at home, and we just use the screen to see our faces, hear our voices, and see the maps, and that's it. Or pick, handouts, pictures, mood stuff. Because all the automation and all of that, I truly hate it. I just have to say it. It just pulls me out of the immersion. Brings me into a video game mode, and we never get good role play out of that. So there you go. It's been said. Okay, let's just quickly zoom in to just check. So here is, it's just that if I click on this, I can move to another whiteboard, and yeah, that's where I'm at. Now if I go back, that's one thing that I don't like. They didn't put the back button elsewhere. I guess there's a shortcut for that, and I just don't know about it. I put the Myth of Pure Magic here because the Myth of Pure Magic is what I wanted Elmendra to bring to the table. That's what, because Elmendra is a super passionate lore master. She doesn't even know how to cast magic, so she's not into this quest to learn powerful magic, or maybe she is, but she's really an archaeologist. She's indie. like Indiana Jones. That's how I portray her. She really likes, um, being the first to discover things. And the myth of pure magic is a myth that is so appealing, because if she was the one to bring the Ordo Magica to this knowledge, she would be like, it's like an explorer, the first people that went across North America and saw the Pacific. It's that kind of historical importance and glory that she's after. And so she knows a lot about all these myths, and she knows enough because she's traveled and explored ruins. She knows that there is an actual possibility that this pure magic exists. And I was working on this as being the real thing that will pull in a lot of my characters. A lot of characters in my group are mages from the Ordo Magica, so I wanted them to be able to have something interesting, like a motivation to get to Symbar. And that's why I came up with this. The mage Mikaria that comes from Alberator, his master died of the Grey Death, and he saw they were studying the Grey Death to see if they could stop its advance, because the Grey Death is sort of eating up Alberator year by year. And pure magic is the only thing that could possibly save the Southern lands from the advance of the Grey Death. So there's a big motivation there. And so for all characters, I tried to create some kind of a motivation to get to Symbar. And since when they got into Indaros, the Darkest Star, there was the catastrophe with the cathedral, so there was the obvious investigation on who did this. That was the main driver of that adventure. And they met the Duchess Esmeralda, and they were very happy to help her, and she recompensed them lavishly. So she's sort of their patron, like kind of patron right now. And they were, they're good investigators. They really like investigative adventures, and they really went through that one super fast. And the end of that adventure brings you back to the main topic, which is the quest for the Throne of Thorns. And so for all the adventures, like in Wrath of the Warden, it's just you start hearing about it because of the prophecy, the Sarkomal prophecy. So that's where the characters, let me just come back in full screen for a while. Not this one. Okay, I see. I see. Okay, stop. Sorry about that. So I was saying that the campaign, the Throne of Thorns campaign, the way it's built is that you need your player group to be in this whole race to Symbar subject theme. And there's, like, for every faction, there's different motivations, possible motivations. For example, the like regular treasure hunters could go just to find artifacts and become immensely rich. Templars could want to go to destroy the source of the eternal night. Ordo Magica, of course, wants to go because they want to uncover ancient magics, and they want to control these ancient magics. The witches want to go because they want to defend it from other Ambrians, from humans. Basically, they want to help the elves protect the Symbar. And eventually, once they realize what is the cause of the failing of Davokar, why it is darkening, once they know that it's because this the fetters that are maintained by this eternity elf are failing, are weakening, then they know what to do. They know that they need to help this elf maintain the magic. So that's their motivation, etc., etc. And so as a GM for this campaign, you really have to really early on try to see what factions click with your group. Like for my group, some of them are they're not Iron Pact yet, but they're Iron Pact leaning, and they understand that that there's danger in disturbing the forest. So for them, that's really good. They are going there to stop others from destroying things and from liberating the darkness. And once they get there, they will be like the witches. They will discover that actually it's not a status quo. Just defending Simbar isn't enough, because actually the fetters are weakening, and something bad's going to happen. So that's one part. Um, I have a lot of Ordo Magica people that are there for the knowledge and for the magic. And I have this an ogre mage that he wants to bring all the peoples together. They think that the only way to fight this darkness is to stop fighting amongst us. So they're sort of like a pacifist kind of character. Gonna have a hard time in the campaign. It's gonna be this character is going to cry a lot, I think. But hey, it's drama, it's tragedy, it's great. And then I have a Templar. I don't really know what she's going, like, why would I believe that she will want to follow the group just by loyalty to the group, and she's a fighter. She likes to fight abominations. Yeah, she thinks that Eternal Night must be destroyed one abomination at a time, and she'll get to do that quite a lot. And Elmendra is like a GMPC at this point. I won't have her be that important, but she's a major step in the evolution of the arcs of this campaign. Because if you go back to the beginning of the campaign, the Wrath of the Warden, you have the Prophecy of Sarkamal that sort of seeds this idea that there is a throne of thorn somewhere, and that the person that will sit on it will become the emperor of the world. But that's about it. I mean, in that adventure, it's the theme of the quest for power through dark magic. That's a theme, the major theme. And it's also another important theme of that adventure is the violence against the spirits of the forest, like ambitious humans destroying nature to get power. That's basically it. And then in the Witch Hammer, you're following the footsteps of someone that wants to go to Simbar. And that link of how you get the characters interested in that was a bit harder. I did a lot of things that I mentioned in my previous videos about how I created this interest. I had them meet Elmendra beforehand. So you really have to build up this myth. It's a bit like the El Dorado, like the cities of gold in South America. This myth of the city of gold that got a lot of adventurers from Europe to cross over and try to find wealth and power this way. So this kind of idea that there is this ultimate power and it's almost at hand has to be built up during Wrath of the Warden. You sort of have to really see how your players are reacting and try to ham it up. The things that work with them, you have to sort of really dive in and make those motivations important. And then you come to Indaros, and Indaros is once again like a side quest. It's a side quest which establishes much of the politics of the kingdom again, and the coming wars that are brewing. The first one being against the Sovereign's Oath. And only at the end do you have this big motivation, big moment where we put the focus on Simbar again. And that's why this scene with Elmendra was really important, because that's where we sort of end the investigation and we give a hard left to the original adventure, like the real one, the important one. let me go back to my screen share here. And so I have cards for characters, like you can see here. Laurier-Gomme, a character that appeared in Priospas that became important. Elmendra, of course. Adelia Arobel. She's, don't remember, I think, I didn't use her. I don't remember why she's there. And we have Clunian Furia, of course, the Hellman, and the sailors. And now I need to show you that in this application, I can open up a side window here. And in my side window, I can have my PDF appear. And then I can, for example, create a square. Okay, that's for some reason is not working right now, because maybe because I'm sharing the screen. But I can select, like this table, for example, I could create an instant card out of it really easily. And then these cards, I can paste them where I want. So basically, I can have a lot of my content when I prepare this adventure. I will be reading through it, but I'll be taking things out and creating cards for NPCs, for whatever, locations, etc. And the way that what I've found over time is that the most useful thing for me is to really have really specific cards, like they call them micronotes. So you really try to keep the content of a card really minimalistic, so I can find them. The fastest way I found was to use just words. Like, for example, if I go, I don't know, elixir, then you see that I have some excerpts here of elixir that are from the books. I have the prices here, and that's pretty much it. I don't have specifics for that. And for artifacts, for example, I have, let's say I have a cloak. That's an artifact. Well, black cloak, that's an adversary, but the thorn cloak is a power, and maybe this one. There's the image of the violin cloak. And so let's say I open this up and I say, okay, but I want the description. So I can go and locate the highlight in the book, and then I have the description right there beside it. So I don't know if I'm being too excited about this, or if it's really groundbreaking for you guys, but basically that's what I do. I just hyperlink everything. And so for artifacts, for adversaries and monsters, stat blocks and stuff like that, I just went through everything. So if I have a power, like for example, twin attack, I can't remember what twin attack does. Here it is. That's twin attack. So I can pull up almost anything really quickly. And for lore, because lore is the problem, lore is sort of vague. It's wide. It's includes many things. I think that for lore points, I use Notebook LM. It's much more efficient than trying to, go book by book. I did some of that, like in my prep beforehand. I did like huge, took so much time. You're talking about being, let's say, I think it's in Symbaroum. So you see, rules on travel. Here I have some lore. So I've got the Order of Dakotnik, the Church of Haman. I've got tons of stuff. And those are all excerpts from the books with some keywords, so I can find them easier. But actually, all of this helps, sort of, but it's not great, because it's just even going back to this page on the subject. Let's say, okay, let's check out the Church of Haman. Okay, now I have to read this, I have to read that, and then I have to read this and that, and and the order of the Kutnik, same thing. So of course I can do it, but not when I'm running the game. If when I'm running the game, if a character that, for example, my friend has a new character and he's a staff mage, so he has some knowledge about the order of the Kutnik. If I want to give him information about his order during play and really quickly, I can't really come here and read these little things. It's just not practical. I mean, I will, because I did. That's why I compiled them. But you can see that it's not, it's little bits and pieces. It's not condensed. It's not, it's good enough, but it would be more efficient for me to ask a question about this content. If I know what's going on in the story, I know what my friend is looking for, like what kind of lore he wants to know about his order, why, in what context he wants this information. And so I can ask Notebook LM a very specific question about this order that is more in line to what he's looking for. And so I'll get some information. And of course, it's just inspiration. For me, it's just, okay, this is what Notebook tells me. And I can get inspired by that, read it really quickly, and come up with my own take on it. So it's to avoid doing this, because this was so time consuming and it doesn't add that much value. I mean, the thing it added when I did this is that it let me sort of memorize everything as I was pulling out text. I have a pretty good instinct about this story and the different elements of the story, because I put my hands in the mix so much. But there's so much to remember that it's impossible to really remember factoids. So that's why the tools are super useful. And so if I go back to, I'm almost done with this overview of my tools that I use. I think what I'd like to tell you is that the point I'm reaching right now, and maybe it's a huge, it's a huge journey to get to this point, but still, it is what it is. I really think that what I want to do now is to, let's open another page. It's called, there it is. This is my next session. Okay, so it's 103. So what I want for my sessions as I'm playing, I have this main text where those are the notes that I have of the scenes I want to introduce. This is sort of a downtime session, because it's the downtime between Indaros the Darkest Star and the start of Mother of Darkness. So we're going to do some downtime scenes. So there's scenes, for example, like the first one here, Lodome and her father. He's the commander of a temple, the Temple of Ophelia. He's a Templar that stayed loyal to the church. So we're gonna have some politics, Game of Thrones. Yeah, Game of Thrones. I sort of forgot the name of the series for some reason, but we'll be doing that. We'll be doing Demeon, which is a sort of a spy mage, and the barbarian Mirizin that will try to speak with Yeleta the Huldra in Karvosti, as the armies are massing for a great battle between the forces of the Queen and the forces of the Sovereign's Oath. So that will be one of the scenes. Mikariel will go down to the Isle of Crystal, the Crystal Isle under Thistlehold, because I want him to have a relationship with Agramai Kalfas, and I want to sort of build up the, let's say, the politics and the ambitions of different mages of the order in Thistlehold and beyond, regarding the possibility of going to Symbar. And so, yeah, so multiple things. And as I write these, I want to have the information hyperlinked. So my cards, apart from this main card where it's really the session content, like the major content, of course, the PCs always, you know, pop up scenes they want to play that I haven't prepared for. It happens all the time. If it's really a problem for me, I'll just ask for a break, for like a 10-minute break, and I'll create a few NPCs, create a location, and then we'll run the scene. But let's say in a session, in a typical session, I'd say that maybe 20% of the session is totally improvised, and 80% is stuff that I planned or more or less planned. You don't need much, you know, to get going. What we really need when we prep is what scenes are going to be played, who are the NPCs of those scenes, do I have all the information I need to role play them, what are the locations, do the locations need special rules or anything to run them, and if there's any combat that's planned, then the stat blocks and such. But that's it. That's all you need. So you need locations, you need NPCs with their motivations, of course. You need stat blocks and rule stuff. Just 3 things. It's not that hard. But what I realized is that when I was putting too much information in my core note, then it would be cluttered and I would have time. It would be hard for me while I'm running the game to look at it and to not get lost in it. Even if I tried to keep it simple as I could, it was a problem. And the other thing is that if I use this strategy where you keep it super simple in the note and you hyperlink to other cards, well, if you're not using this kind of tool, that means that you have tons of little cards, papers, extra papers with extra information about this or that, and that can become just some clutter behind my screen, and then I'm looking for something and I'm just flipping through paper and I don't know why, but I never find the paper I'm looking for. I so many times I just stop looking and just improvise. It happens all the time. I'm really bad, I guess, in that, with that kind of stuff. I'm chaotic. I'm more of a chaotic style theatery type of guy than a very orderly, bookish type of guy. Okay, so let's, as we end this this stream, because I think I've talked enough. I think I'll keep the prep off screen, or maybe I'll do a second stream for the prep, and we'll see what happens with that. But for this stream about what I use as a DM, let's keep going just with this element here, which is my main note. That's the way I want to keep going forward. So let's say I have inscriptions on the Isle of Crystal, because when they went to the Isle and they had this big fight, I established that the Isle actually, because I really fleshed out this Isle, and the Isle had a lot of Symbaric script on the crystals, and because of the nature of the node, the theurgs, not theurg, but theurgs of Symbaroum would come here to do rituals and stuff like that, and they would inscribe their rituals. It's like a living codex on the crystals. And so if I want to know more, I just click on that. I have information about what's going on this crystal isle. I can come back. I can see, okay, Mirizin, one of the characters, had some visions here. This is the vision that he had. And then I can keep on going. That's a character, a very important character. I can, instead of doing this, I will put the hyperlink to the stats. So I've got hit this here. I haven't created a true card for him yet. This is just an excerpt from the PDF. So as soon as I create a real character card, which I should do right now, I'm surprised that I don't have one, actually. So let's try again. Do I have one somewhere? Nope. Okay. So what I can do is I just do this, create card. So now I have a card here. I can take this, I cut it out, I open the card, I put it here, and actually I'm going to copy this content because I want to have it like immediately visible. So you can see that it's pretty easy to navigate this. And I like the view source because I can go back to the PDF where this comes from and read the information right there. And just before I leave this card, I'm going to add the tag for NPC, PNG in French. Okay, so you see that was pretty quick. And once the things are created, I can always use the links to the cards right away as I write. That's just like in Obsidian and other similar applications. But I think the hyperlink is really powerful, and the extra reason why it's so powerful is that, for example, let's say El Feno. Let's say I'm running the game right now. So I have my computer to the side, I have my GM screen, I have a few, because I have notes, like I have a notepad in front of me and stuff, and I have pictures. I like to put the pictures up on my screen to show the characters that I'm role-playing. I have little clips for that, like clips for, it's for people that do retail, like retail stores. You can have a clip, sort of clips on your cardboard of the GM screen, and then you have a little like a little slit where you can insert a card, and you can just have a card. That's what I'm trying to prep now, is always have a card where there's a picture on one side, the picture of the NPC, and the important info about the NPC on the other side. So when I put it on my board, they see the picture and I see the info. So that's my new thing, my new gimmick. So if I want to know more about this character, because I need to roleplay him right now, of course I could just click like this, and as you see, it's not well defined because I haven't prepped it yet. Let's take another one. I think I have, yeah, in this one I don't know if I have any. I'll just create one just for fun. So let's just add Elisabetta Vera. Okay, so if I click on this, I can have her picture, I have all information about her stat block. That's, at some point I created this table because if I want to do custom stat blocks, I can do them. But most of the time I use the stat blocks in the book. So yeah, so I have some info. I can role play her here. I can see just a few things. This one doesn't have much, but other characters have more. And the good thing is that I can right click. Actually, I want to alt click or option click, and it appears in the sidebar. So that is the magic, because I can close this. So I could have a lot of my NPCs that I need for this scene. I can stack them up here. I can put some lore points. I can put all that info on the side. And this here will be just, it's less useful actually. It's just my notes of how I'm expecting this session to go. This is what I planned for the flow of the session. And on the right is all the micro notes that I use for the session. So I'll have some locations, some characters, some stat blocks, stuff like that. If I have a big battle going on, then I will, like usually I won't need it, but sometimes I will open a new whiteboard and put all the stat blocks together so I can just have them, see them better. But actually I find that for small combats where there's just a few stat blocks, I just scroll like this from one to another. Like if I put, I don't know, we'll put Enforcer. I think it's an, yeah, I don't know if I have the, I don't think I have it. Okay, let's go for Experienced Templar. Okay, there you go. So you see I've got this. So I can easily, and you see this one, I used a way that I can't resize. I don't really like that, but I didn't know at the time. So I can resize these and I can have my stat blocks and just scroll from one to another as I use them during the combat, which is really quick. Of course, it's even quicker when everything is in front of you. So it really depends how much time I have to prep. I don't have a lot of time to prep. That's the reality of my life. um, let's just go back to full screen for a sec. Um, I I don't know how many of you are in my situation. I would really love it if people would comment on their actual real life reality when it comes to role-playing games, because I'll describe you mine and you can tell me yours. But in my situation, I'm a director, I'm an editor for TV mostly, but also for film. So I have periods where I'm really working my ass off and I have absolutely no time for prep, but I still want to squeeze in a game. We don't want to stop playing for 3 months. So when I'm really busy, usually I can manage to squeeze in at least one game per month. And often those games, I will come almost with no prep. Like I've done sessions where I prep for 30 minutes. I just did my little notes of what I think should happen. And then with this tool, as I move in a campaign, like if I had a fresh campaign to manage, I would feel really confident, because with this tool, if I have my notes, my main notes, and my micro notes that are the NPCs locations and stuff like that, uh, everything is easily searchable just by writing the name of the thing. I feel confident that during play, I can pull up information really fast, and I can either, for example, if I have to take a 5-minute break to prep something, I know I can pull up the relevant info really fast, get what I need to plan this little scene, and then let's jump back in. And for other situations, often I will hear the players talking, oh, we should do this, we should go see this guy, blah, blah, blah. They're talking. Well, I'll just pull up the NPC and put him in the sidebar and have him on hand. So it's really, it's a really interesting. I, okay, I see a new chat message. It's clicking here. What's this? I have no idea how to do this, guys. Can I see the chat? Huh. I'm very sorry for the chatter. I do not know how I can add chat. I will I'll know next time. Sorry about that, but I'll answer in the comments. But still, please tell me what your situation is, because uh, I would I want to create some useful material for people like you. But of course, the first thing the first person I'm working for is myself. So I'm thinking about things that I would really like to have on hand when I GM. And these things are like, for example, cards that are not Oracle cards, but that have that kind of use, but a more concrete kind of Oracle card. Um, so it's like basically turning random tables into cards. Why cards? Because I really like the fact that you can flip 3 cards on the table in front of you and mix and match and really have it's really easy to focus because you only have those cards in front of you. You don't have the whole table. And actually, I also, I'm getting older, and reading tables, like super thick tables full of stuff, while when I'm running the game, it's really just not practical, and it's not tangible. It's not tactile enough. It's not gamey enough. It's just I don't really like it. So I'm working on those cards because they would be good for me with my style of GMing. So I'm wondering if you also have that kind of GMing, where I'm being very, very confused right now. I know I'm not talking straight, but what I want to know is basically how many people out there are not um, spending hours and hours and hours creating world building, having all these wonderful ways of classifying all the lore, all the information. I know some GMs out there have a lot of time, they love doing it, and they're super organized. And I'm not that person. I'm a person that has sometimes a lot of time, and I put time in, and I try to prepare tools that I will be able to use when I don't have the time. So basically my prep when I have time for it has to be on tools that are super fast to use that I will be using when I run sessions that I don't have time to prep for. So that's my situation. I really wonder how many of you are in the same situation, that they want to play more and they can't find time to prep, and that's the problem. That's the main problem they encounter. So leave a comment, do the subscribe stuff and all of that. That's really important. And I'll see you in the next one. And I'm still there because I'll just do maybe a little conclusion for people that are still there. I can show you, let me see, because I read all the time on Reddit and other places that people have a lot of time scheduling. And so I'm going to show you really quickly, super simple way of that we have to, let me see, like this. Okay. So it's basically just a Discord, but I know that people have a hard time with this. So I'm going to show you. There it is. There it is. And my switching of it, yeah, that needs to be better. But let's go. Let's come back to this. Okay, so this is our Discord. So you can see that it's all in French, but you've got some channels that are not related to the games. Here's when we connect to play. Here's the Symbaroum one. So we've got a general one just for general talk. And now I'm having trouble with my mouse. We have our calendar. So the calendar is super simple. We just put dates like this, and people put thumbs up and thumb down, and that is really useful. I have a larger group. I have 6 players, and we play as soon as 3 of them can. So it makes it really easy to identify, okay, we can play this date, this date. So that's really useful for us. In the role play, sometimes we do some role play. Like these were threads where we were role playing, like play by post a bit. So if I have here, I'm writing a post, and so this is play by post right there. We have the very important session summaries. So we've got tons of those that I transferred into another format to bring into Notebook LM. I've got some lore and handouts, this background on the PCs, rules things, Foundry, Forge things. I don't know why there's tons of images here, but anyways, some useful links. And the metagaming one is important because that's where we talk about how we want to run the game, how the flow of the game needs to be. And we use, it's called a code jeudi, because my real last name is Jeudi. And because we realized that a lot of times when we play, focus can get a bit muddled. And so I'll just stop this. And so we decided to really play in very intense blocks of 1 hour to 1 hour and a half. So we sort of have a timer, and we stay focused for 1 hour, 1 hour and a half. And the rule is that you can only talk in character. You don't need to talk first person in character. You can talk third person if you want. And you can, of course, narrate what your character is doing. You are the narrator for your character. So when we go around the table and people play their characters, they need to, as much as possible, avoid technical talk, rules talk. Metagaming is banned. And even asking the GM for what would my character know about this, it's not banned at all, but to a certain extent, I'll say, well, if it's really simple stuff about your hometown or whatever, just make it up. And if you go too far, I'll rein you back in. But let's not break the flow. Just go ahead. It's your town. It's your backstory. It's your, if you describe one of your friends or whatever, you can describe what you want. And we try to keep that really, really focused. It really helps for two things. It helps for immersion, and it helps for to keep things quick. It's very interesting, but when people role play their characters and only talk in character, usually discussions last less longer. There's less circular discussion. When people really role play, when they really think about what would my character think about this, because characters have strong personalities, they have motivations, they have their background, and so they would not accept to run in circles that much. It's the players that want to talk in circles. Why? Because the players, they want to be good players. They want to be nice to their other player friends. They don't want to impose on their player friends. So it's sort of always seeking consensus. But that's the players seeking consensus. The characters are not seeking consensus most of the time. They have an idea. They know what they want to do. So you have to play the drama, play the conflict. Do not seek consensus. Because the metagaming part, where players will say, hey, I don't want to be buggy. I don't want to, I know your character wants that, but, blah, blah, blah. All that talk, that's metagame talk. And it's really good to have it. It's really important to make sure that others are having fun and that you're not spoiling someone else's fun. But that should happen outside of the game as much as we can. So that's why we decided to use the Kojirutsi. So we have this 1 hour, 1 hour and a half where we just go for it. We know that maybe some feathers will be ruffled, maybe some conflict will happen between characters, but then we have this 15-minute break where we metagame and where we just make sure everybody's happy, nothing went overboard, blah, blah, blah. And usually if something is not fun for a player, then we'll readjust. We'll say, oh, okay, so maybe we'll retcon this little thing, or maybe we'll, as we get back into the scene, we'll have a change in, have a shift in the way the characters are played. So, and it works really, really well. So I really encourage you guys to try it. And if you do, you can leave a comment, tell me how it went. And now I will thank you for being there. If you want to support the channel, because even though I'm not a real YouTuber, I really just want to have fun with you guys. Having a bit of help and support is always good. It will especially encourage me to keep on maybe the design part of things, where I create things that people can use for their games. And the way to do that is you can head on to Drive-Through RPG, and you can look for the adventures that I made. So the one is called Playing with Goblins for Symbaroum, and there's the version of the same adventure for D&D 5.5 called Dare You the Goblin Games. And those two adventures are for sale. So if you buy a copy, then it's just like it's like my Patreon in a way. So thanks again, and see you in the next one. Bye-bye.